Hi everyone, welcome to another Flosstube video. This is Flosstube video 41 and I have not a lot of stitching, not a lot of different stitching. I've been very monogamous this past 3 weeks, and I also have like 10 non-stitch days in those past 3 weeks, which is just not like me. And if you stay until the end, you will have my personal update and I will tell you all about it. So, but first, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It warms my heart that you want to spend some time with me. You're over 600 people that are subscribed. It's just insane. Thank you so much. I'm just really fascinated that 600 of you like my content enough to actually stay. That is so cool. But if you're new here, hi, welcome. I hope you want to stay. My name is Marika. I live in Stockholm, Sweden with my boyfriend and my 2 cats, and this is a channel mostly about cross stitching. And because this is like a lot of new people have come, I thought I'd tell you how this channel is kind of organized. I start off with all my cross stitching, my whips, my finishes, all of that. Might throw in a little bit of haul, might have a little giveaway sometimes, or store updates. If my store have an update, I have a store called the Crafty Bit Shop where I sell my hand-dyed fabrics, also my hand-sewn bags, and finally some kits, mostly mill kits. So head over there. It's always linked in the description down below. It is thecraftybitshop.etsy.com. And then I will share some of my other crafts if I have done other crafts. This week I have a little bit of knitting, and finally I usually have a personal update at the end, so that you can kind of choose whenever you want to leave. If you just want to hear for the cross stitching, that is where I start. So let's start with the cross stitching. The first project, it is a start and a finish, and it is another mill kit. So I stitched a Halloween kit. When I left you off 3 weeks ago, the last finish I had was the school mouse. From the same series, it is a 6-kit series called Autumn Harvest from 2023. There is 3 Halloween projects, and the first that I picked up was this. This is Cat Bat. Cat Bat is about a little bit over 900 stitches and beads. So together, beads and stitches is a little bit over 900. It was really fun to stitch. You have a little treasure up here, that little moon. Yeah, it is a adorable kit. I'm gonna make it into a little ornament later on, but that was my start and finish. So again, that is Cat Bat. My second project has a whole story around it. So I was doing coffee like you are doing coffee, and then I realized that I want spices in my coffee, and it is pumpkin spice latte season. This was when the pumpkin spice latte had been released in Starbucks in the US, but not in Sweden. It is released now. It took like a week or 2, but now they're here. But this was before they were released here, so I couldn't just go out and get one. I really wanted one. I'm like, okay, let's go Google for spices. In 10 steps, because it's 10 steps for my kitchen counter into this office, my brain went, I need a cross stitch with pumpkin spice latte. So instead of searching for spices, I searched for patterns, and I found this pattern from the Witchy Stitcher, which I've seen before and I knew I wanted to stitch. So I immediately bought it, downloaded it, started to kit it up, and then I realized, where is my coffee? And then I realized I completely forgotten about my coffee that was half done in the kitchen, because I wanted some spices. Anyhow, that is how my brain works. This is the Pumpkin Spice Latte Zombie by the Witchy Stitcher. And this is, I think, like 1/3 done or something. So it's going to be a little bit more at the top. It's going to be a little black moon on the top. It's going to be the same kind of black little piles. Doesn't it look like little kitties? Like little black kitties, and the eyes that are glowing. I also need to fill in the eyes of some of those places, but yeah. Also, it's going to be the same on this side, and then it's going to be a little bit of text on the bottom, but it's almost done. This is stitched on my own hand-dyed fabric. This is Hot Chocolate, which you can find in the store. I have it in 28 or 32 count linen. It is 16 count Ida, this, and I also have it in evenweave that you can find there. This is how it looks. It was charted to be on something more like a murky, but I looked in my stash and thought this would be perfect for this. The only difference I'm going to make, this is charted in DMC, the only difference I'm going to make is that in the little eye, there's a little white dot, and also there's a little bit of white backstitching. That is the only blank in this project, and I'm actually going to stitch this in E940, which is a glow-in-the-dark thread, because I thought that would be awesome. So yeah, this is how far I got. I think I had 7 stitchy days on this. This is 3,600 stitches on this. So know that when I stitch, I stitch for hours. I don't have any musts, being that I do have my boyfriend, but he is a computer insane person like me, so he likes to sit in front of his computer when he's not working, and it's actually been really nice because he sits. I have my door to my office just here because we're recording in my office, and this is also where I stitch, and I can see where he sits in our like day sofa, day bed, whatever, so we can still chat, but I sit here and watch my things, and he sits in the living room and watch his. So I do spend a lot of time stitching. I can easily get 6 to 8 hours a day even when I work. So yeah, but I guess it's about 1/3 done. And that was a new start. I then have my work in progress. That is the last project that I picked up this 3-week period, and that is a Gamer Nouveau. I will put an image here so you can see how it looks. Should probably have shown you the zombie also, but this is what Gamer Nouveau will look like, because it is a much bigger, it is a full coverage piece, it is by Gecko Roche, it is a kit. So I get all the threads, all the fabrics, everything, and the pattern. I paid extra to get a PDF. So basically you can buy it with a PDF as a kit, so you get the kit and then you get the PDF. They don't have it is DMC, but they don't have the DMC numbers in it, so that's how they make it so that you can't just buy the pattern. But I actually added the PDF because this kit was already kitted, so I could get it immediately. You can, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks delay if you get a kit that isn't kitted up. But yeah, this is where I am, and I basically have stitched, I think, about this much of it since you saw it the last time. It is stitched on a 25 count easy count even weave from Swaigard. It is stitched 2 threads over 1, and I have switched techniques on this project, and I thought I'll go through this. But before I do that, I also want to talk about my Q-snap and my Q-snap cover. So this is 2 Q-snaps put together. You can do that. You can't do it with the 6-inch because the 6-inch has, it's a hard, fast frame, but with 8-inch, 11-inch and the 14-inch that exist, you can actually put them together and make them your own sizes. And some of them have like extenders, so you could make them even wider or how you want them to be. You can really build them. And I have a lot of Q-snaps because I do like to work on multiple projects at one time. So I have a bunch of Q-snaps lying around, so I made a 8x11. So it is 2 frames put together, 1 8 and 1 11, and I can make 2 8x11s out of those 2 frames. But yes, and then I made a little Q-snap cover. It's just a super simple Q-snap cover from one of the fabrics that I picked up earlier this year. I just needed something to hold the fabric on the zombie, so I made this and I'm super happy about it. I wish I could make more, but my sewing machine is on service again. More about that later. Anyhow, so the techniques. When I started this, I started in hand. I started this after I've stitched on Winter Cabin, and I stitched Winter Cabin in hand. I really enjoyed it. However, I have seen lately that most of the projects that I stitch in hand, except for the bee projects, are puckering. And I realized that I can stitch in hand on 14 count, but I shouldn't stitch in hand. I personally shouldn't stitch in hand under 14 count or on even weave, because I still have too tight of a tension. So I moved this into the Q-snap. This has been kind of lavishing also because I have some rows here. You can actually see the rows, and if I turn it around, you can see here, you see the rows. And that is because I did stitch diagonally because I wanted to see if I could not have rows because of that, because I've been starting to see I'm having had issues on my Christmas house, that I have some rows where I have my columns, and I wanted to not have that, so I went on diagonal with this. However, when you turn if you are stitching your stitches like multiple stitches in one direction and then multiple stitches in the other direction, where you turn, there is a bigger chance for you to start getting lines, which made me a little bit sad. I also saw, you can see that on the stars, that there's puckering around the edges, or the stars they don't lie flat as I want them to because of stitching in hand. So put it into the frame. I started trying some different techniques, but for the past over 3,000 stitches, because I've been stitching over 4,000 stitches. I stitched 5,154 stitches on this week. Yes, this week I've stitched 5,154 stitches in 6 days. I put in a lot of time. I did have a couple of sick days where I stitched from morning to evening towards the end of my sick health, and that is also why I got so many stitches in. But yeah, I started a new technique. The new technique I have kind of copied from Caroline, from the Caroline? I'm so bad with names. It's the Flosstube stitcher. She is awesome. I followed her since like 2014. She had a break and she come back. Love her projects. She stitches diagonally on her projects, and I was looking at it and it looks like she's doing it row by row. So I decided I'm gonna do it diagonally row by row. So, or column by column, just one straight, one stitch at a time. And stitching one stitch at a time makes my background a little bit, you see, it's a little bit more dense, but also those stitches, they just lay much more nicer. They lay so much better. I am so in love with this project right now. I just want to stitch on it all day, every day. So that is what I'm doing. I'm allowing myself to follow the dopamine in this case because I just love this project. It's super fun. So yeah, that is all my ramblings about this cross stitch project. I do have a teeny tiny haul, so let's get through it. This haul is from Bowen. If you didn't know, you can actually order directly from Bowen. I don't know if you can from the States. I know I can do it. And because it is within Europe, it's actually fairly low for me postage. I guess if you're in the US, the postage gets a lot higher, but I paid like $3-4 in postage, so that's good. So I bought needles. My favorite needles are the 26 size bowhin at the moment. I do like the needles that I have, that I sell in my store. However, I only have the ones that I sell in my store left. So I'm just gonna leave them for anyone who wants to pick them up. And then I'm going to go over to bowhins completely. I'm gonna see if I can get wholesale with bowhins so that I can start getting them in my store also. But I picked up 10 packets of these because I love them. So that is my needle of choice, and I added more because sometimes when I stitch I can have 3 to 4 needles threaded at one time, depending on how the pattern goes. Then I picked up another package of these comfort needle pullers. Oh, this gets so bright. It is so shiny, but I hope you can see them. They are like little silicone thimbles, basically. They're silicone thimbles. They're soft, so when you put them on, they're meant to give you more purchase when you pull your needle, so that the silicone has a higher, the words disappeared, but yeah, it helps you hold on to your needle. I use them as thimbles. So I use them on my hand, where when I stitch in hand, I hold my fabric in my left hand, and then my pokey finger will be under the fabric, and then I do the sewing method. And I discovered fairly quickly that I would be pricking my finger all the time. So I use these silicone thimbles basically to help protect my finger. However, because they are silicone, they will wear out because you are constantly pricking the silicone. So I just picked up another set. So this is the medium small, and the small size is what I use for my finger, but I do use the pink for my thumb sometimes if I need that. And the last thing that I picked up was a snag nabbit. Have you ever seen a snag nabbit? I will probably, when I figured out how to store this, I will show it again. But a snag nabbit is basically a needle without an eye that has half of it has like a texture in the metal, and it's made to hide threads, stuff like that. So basically, if you have your stitching and you see a couple of stitches up that you have one of the loops of your threads might be a little bit bigger than the other, then you stick this down where that thread go down, and you pull it through the fabric, and those little grooves that are in the metal will kind of pick up that thread and help to pull it through, so you can't see it. Thought I would. I've seen it in my project that I have a couple of those, so I wanted to try one out when I was ordering. So yeah, that is my haul. For my and that is all the stitchy. That is my haul, and that is all my stitchy things. Now for my knitting. So I have been knitting, and I showed you this almost done last week, I think. So I thought I'd just show you this mostly done. Well, I have finished some of them, but I have to redo some of them. So the first thing is the little cardigan. This is a little button-up cardigan. Super cute. It has a little bit of lace details, both at the top and the bottom. It does have, the lace goes on the back, but not in the bottom below. Super little. This is for a newborn baby. My little brother is having his first child. He's getting a daughter, and I just needed to knit something. I do have some more projects that I want to put on my needles, and that will happen. Anyhow, I finally, last time I showed you that I had a little bit of the sleeve left. Now it's fully done. I also have sewed on the buttons. I chose to go with a variation of buttons. Basically, I took all the buttons that I had bought, because I bought a lot of buttons for this project because I couldn't decide, and I put them and I placed them on the little cardigan, and I took a photo and I sent it to my brother and his girlfriend, like, oh, I like having those different buttons, but I'm a little bit, I couldn't just have them different, so I made it, I took the flower ones at the top and the bottom, and then I took and made a gradient in the pink, so I had the dark pink, medium, and the light pink, basically. Just to get that. This is stitched in a sock yarn by a dyer that doesn't dye anymore, called Lambda Ties. It was one of her experimentals. It is a merino stellina blend with a little bit, so it's a good yarn. It's a very soft yarn, and I really like it because it looks like a deconstructed rose. I did use the yarn. This pattern was very well written. I loved it. Then, but she didn't have any at all little gloves for babies or socks for babies or something. It didn't exist at all. I went through her site, I couldn't find anything. So I went with another designer for some little socks and stuff. I was a little bit disappointed with the pattern. It was much harder to read, and I read it wrong for 2 of these. I'm missing 11 rows on both of them. Do not know how I was able to do it. So these I need to restitch, but these are little things to have on your hands. The meaning is that the cuff is supposed to be folded. However, because I missed 11 rows, the cuff isn't turned inside out as it should. However, these are folded, and these are the little booties for the little baby. So yeah, that is the little set. I'm gonna redo the little handy things, and then we are going to send it away to the parents to be. So yeah, that was all my knitting. I haven't really bought anything or anything when it comes to knitting. I'm trying not to buy anything mostly at all, which isn't because of lack of money. It's more because I don't know if I get paid this month or next month for my first salary. So I do have money put away for to be able to pay my bills and everything, but then I don't want to overspend in case my salary doesn't come in. So I just tried not to spend too much, and also I bought a Lego set. So yeah, that happened. I forgot about that. I have the box on the floor. The Lego is actually in the living room. So in December of last year, I bought a Christmas Lego set with like 3 little house fronts, 2 house fronts, and a little tram, and a little tram stop, and a little Christmas tree. I loved it. I built it. It was super fun. I never felt so, like, I do a lot of different crafts, but building that Lego, it was the emotions that it evoked in me was just insane. It's just calmness, and at the same time this little giddy happiness. Finding all the little teeny tiny details that are in these in this Legos is just insane, and I loved building it. So I've been wanting to have a piece of Lego that I can have up for fall. I couldn't find one for like spring summer, but I did find one for fall. I've been looking at this for like 6 months, so I finally bit the bullet and I bought it. It is the A-frame set, so it's an A-frame house and it's trees around it, and they have like full leaves, and they're just, it's a gorgeous piece of Lego. Okay, it is a grown-up Lego, and it's a gorgeous piece of Lego. So that is now the kind of mantelpiece for my half-size bookcase that I have out in the living room, and I'm super happy about it. So yeah, there's also one thing I've done instead of stitching. I've been building Legos. But yes, so why did I have 10 days that were not stitchy? So the past 3 weeks have been fairly intense. Not only did I start a new job, I also have almost a full week of being sick. I picked up a cold with a sore throat. It went through like a regular cold. Usually when I get colds, because my immune system is very iffy, they get very drawn out. It can take me a month to get through a cold, and that means usually that it can be a month before I'm back at work. But right now I'm on a higher level of cortisones because of things I'm going to tell you about a little bit later. So I had just a regular cold and haven't had it in years, but it was fascinating. It took a week. It went from a sore throat, so I started staying home. When I got my sore throat, I'm like, I'm staying home. I'm not gonna get anyone sick. So I started with my sore throat. I got the sniffles, started coughing, and have the fevers, and then it passed. Nice. Still a little bit raspy in my throat stuff. Anyhow, so I've gone through that, and then I've gone back to work. So work, very intense, and the first week of work I just felt I couldn't concentrate on cross stitching because I have very high anxiety around people. So after I go home, I have all of these conversations replaying in my mind, and like high anxiety. That this is what happens whenever I start a new job. It is part of my neurodivergency. So to kind of counteract that, because like just sitting and listening to those voices is just stupid. I can't do anything about it, and usually I can kind of talk to myself and say, hey, these things doesn't matter, these things doesn't matter, this doesn't matter. But this time I don't think I wasn't really able to do so I turned to gaming instead, which works great. I have put up my little game here, you can see it behind the screen. So usually I've had my game in the living room. I've been playing against the TV, but right now I actually just play against the screen, and it works great. And that way I also can kind of watch other things on the other screen that is connected to my computer. So I really loved it. I've been sitting here and gaming. I've gone through 3 different games. The first one is Dredge, which is a little bit dark and gothic, and I liked it. I actually really liked it. It was really fun. It took me just a couple of days, and then it was finished. I actually finished the game. I usually play AAA games, and they can have like hundreds of hours of gaming. Sorry. But this took me a couple of days, and then it was done. It was super fun. I was waiting for a game release that was on the 8th of September for Fae Farm. So I picked up another farm game called Big Farm. It was like $18. It was short but sweet. I think 2.5 days, and I had finished the whole story. And you can then continue to build things and everything. There's still things left in the game to do, but the story is ended, and it was basically then that Fae Farm came out. And Fae Farm is a farming simulator with a Fae kind of theme in it. It is super fun, like super fun game. I still have a lot left in the game, however, I felt that it was time to get back to stitching, and that was what I did. So that is kind of why I don't have a lot of stitchy time for this three-week period. Other things that have happened, I've had some sad news. So I told you about my heightened cortisol. Here's the thing. I have a disease called lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. The autoimmune disease, basically what it is that your immune system identifies parts of you as a threat and starts attacking that instead of attacking like colds and bugs and, you know, the things you get. And what happens is then when that does that, it tires out your immune system. So when you actually get a cold, your immune system isn't strong enough to kick it off. Now, everyone's lupus is different. Lupus is more a collective name of diseases that have about the same kind of diffuse symptoms, but that doesn't show you that it is a different one. They have been talking about splitting out a couple of different ones. There is the lupus that I have, which is the systematic lupus, which is the SLE, but there's also the DLE, which mostly affects your skin. Mine doesn't affect my skin that much. I've had one flare of the butterfly, haven't had it since. It does affect my joints, it affects my energy levels, like with fatigue, and it also affects my concentration in period. I went in for a routine update meeting with my new rheumatologist. This is my 10th rheumatologist in 10 years, I think. So yeah, I've had a few, but yeah, I went in for an update meeting with her. Before that, I get to take some tests. This was scheduled because last time I went in for my regular ones, I had bad liver values. We went through all of that in the spring, figured out that one of the medications they put me on actually is affecting my liver, so I'm not allowed to have that medication. And also that medication also caused fatty liver in me. So now I need to lose weight to treat my fatty liver. So that's Yay! But anyhow, so I had this meeting with her, and we looked at the tests, and my immune system isn't really feeling very well. It is a little bit exhausted. It is my leukocytes and my monocytes. They're not on dangerous levels yet, but they are low, and they haven't been this low since 2018, which was the last time I went into a lupus flare, like 2013, 2014, and I didn't come out of it until 2018. But in that period, a lot of the symptoms I had was actually just side effects of the medication, which we didn't figure out until 2018. So hopefully I won't get as sick as I was then, but I am getting sicker. I have noticed that I am getting sicker, but there has been so much with my losing 2 jobs and losing my grandfather and finding out that I have fatty liver that I just haven't wanted to acknowledge that I have more symptoms. But anyhow, we found that I do have more symptoms and I need to be treated. But all of the usual suspects that would be used, Plaquenil, methotrexate, Imurel, which are very standard medications for lupus, affects my body badly. The Plaquenil is just the side effects. They're very, very bad for me. I shouldn't have them. It isn't something long lasting. It's just that when I eat the medication, I'm sick. And I would need to basically be on sick leave to be able to eat my medication. And that it shouldn't be that way. So we don't have that medication. For the other medication, they actually affect my liver. So I'm not allowed to have them. Like, period. We're not going there. But I did find out that there is one medication that they want to try that shouldn't affect my liver. It's called Benlysta. However, here's the issue with me having multiple issues at one time, and that is I have a virus called HPV, which is human papillomavirus. It's a common virus in your body. I have it around my cervical, and it is 75% of all cervical cancers is due to HPV viruses, and it's specifically due to the HPV version 16 and 18. I have the HPV viruses 16 and 18, and I'm not healing it out because I have lupus, so my immune system doesn't understand that it needs to kill the HPV. I've been struggling with this since 2012. I've had 2 condensation and 1 hysterectomy to get rid of it, and abnormal cells. The problem is that after my hysterectomy, I felt good for a year, but then the HPV, it didn't come back, it just flared. So basically we didn't get rid of the HPV completely. And by 2022, like last year, we started last year, I started testing positive for abnormal cells again. And I had some biopsies done this spring, and they showed, again, abnormal cells. The Benlysta medication will cause the abnormal cells to be boosted. It will boost abnormal cells, and it would boost cancer if that was something I had. So I can't go on that medication until we get rid of my abnormal cells. So yeah, that's the thing. But I have a meeting with my gynecologist in November, and that is where we're going to do, and hopefully I will not get that much worse. I am very blessed. My lupus is fairly contained. Usually the issues I've been having is pain in my joints, so my outer joints, my fingers, my things. So I live with a lot of pain. That's just how it is. I have chronic migraines too. So yeah, that has been it's like mentally you have to process it. You have to go through the whole grieving period of, okay, I am sick now, and I'm going to have to change my life to a certain degree, and I have to grieve the person I was before, because it's a different life, will be different. And that is like a continuous thing every time, because this is a flare-based disease. Every time I lose the disease, the flare goes away. I can start living in a different way. I can live more like a normal person, and then I go into a flare, and I have to restrict my behavior, restrict how I am. I need to pace myself to not cause more flares. And that thing, it's a grieving period when you go into those periods. That's just how it is. So mentally it's been a little bit messy here too, because that's how life is. I also have been at my grandfather's funeral. That might have been, no, that must have been, yeah, that was just before last, or just after last video. Last video was recorded. No, last video I had already done that. Yeah, so yeah, mentally things is a little bit messy. Anyhow, so that's kind of my life. It's work, it's health, it's cost stitching, and not so much in between. I am visiting a friend tomorrow though. I haven't seen her in a very long time, so I'm really happy to travel to her, to be there for her. So that is happening tomorrow. Today, I am going to have to leave in just a minute or two, so I'm going to edit this and upload it when I get home, and that is because I have a hair appointment, so we are going to get my sides a little bit shorter and nicer. Really like having them really, really short. So here's the thing, I like the look of long hair. I don't like long hair, but I don't like short hair. So I am kind of looking at having a little bit longer hair than this. So I'm growing it out at the moment. So I wanted to go here. However, I really enjoy when my hair is short here. So I have a full like undercut all the way through. This is all the hair I have on my head, but I have very thick hair also. I need to have a lot less hair because I have super thick hair and it's just in the way. So I do my undercut and I get it cut once every month, and that is today. So that is that's basically all the plans I think I have for the week. Next week is going to be a very intense work week. We have a special themed week at work, so I'm going to have to be in the office for the whole week, which is going to be just, it's going to be fun, but it's going to be draining. And I also have my Botox treatment on Monday morning, so yay. And that is for my migraines, my chronic migraines, and that has been pushed because of my cold, so I do have some migraines right now. But yeah, that is the life. I do have a few things coming in the mail. One of them is things to organize all of the fabrics I have, like my quilt fabrics, but also my cross stitch fabrics. I was watching Teresa Little Stitcher's video. She was talking about organizations, and she had used these comic boards, like backer boards, and I've been seeing this for at least a year when people have been talking about it. I watch a bunch of like store owners. One of them is a woman from Australia. She does scrunchies. She's been doing scrunchies for 9.5 years, and she's like 25, 26. She was really young when she started her company, but she does it in cottons, and she have her cottons on those little boards. So I've been thinking about it for a longer period of time, and when I was watching Teresa's video, I was like, okay, here, keyboard, Amazon, let's get those so that they are here, and then just use them for my quilt fabrics, but also for my cross stitch fabrics. So I get that organization, because one of the reasons why I'm recording here and not on the other side is because the fancy bookcase that I wanted to make, which would have a fancy backdrop and everything, didn't really work out. For one, I need to add lighting into the bookcase, but two, I'm actually using it as a bookcase or as a storing unit, and it's very messy. It is very messy. So I want to get that organized a little bit more. I want to get the whole space organized a little bit more, and hopefully by getting the fabrics up, I can empty out some more of my drawers and just continue on. But yes, that is probably everything for me. I hope to be back next Saturday with another update. We'll see if I just continue on with my Gamer Nouveau, or if I change projects, start something else, start something new. We'll see. But until next week, I hope you have an awesome week, full with stitching and fun, and I will see you then. Have an awesome day, and as usual, please like the video, comment down below, all of those things. I usually have an emoji, a unicorn emoji. Today is a unicorn emoji. I have a little stuffed unicorn in the corner here that I kind of see when I look. So put a unicorn down below if you actually have come this far, okay? I will see you in a week. I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!